morning light begins to spill across the horizon, soft golden rays stretching over the rooftops and distant treetops of East Legon Hills. The air is crisp and filled with the hum of a city already awake, filled with footsteps, the chatter of schoolchildren, the faint scent of street food cooking at roadside stalls, and the distant rumble of buses and cars preparing for their daily journey. From the vantage point of School Junction, one can sense that this corridor is more than just a stretch of road. It is an artery pumping life into an entire community, a route that ties together homes, schools, businesses, and the wider city of Accra. The road at School Junction itself is alive with activity. Commuters gather at bus stops, vendors balance trays of bread and sachet water, and motorbikes weave carefully through gaps in the traffic. The junction is framed by a mixture of old and new, small shops painted in bright colours, kiosks advertising mobile money services, and behind them, new concrete walls enclosing freshly built houses. Land that was once open fields is now parcelled into residential lots, reflecting the rapid transformation taking place in this part of Accra. The ride from School Junction to Borteyman is more than just asphalt and tar. It is a chronicle of growth and change. The motorbike sets off slowly, joining the stream of vehicles. The narrowness of the road is immediately evident, with cars pressing close to one another and drivers manoeuvring cautiously to avoid potholes. Dust rises lightly where the asphalt has worn thin, and on the sides of the road, one can see small groups of children in uniforms walking together, heading toward nearby schools. Their laughter mixes with the steady rhythm of engines, creating the morning soundtrack of School Junction. For many, this ride is simply routine. For others, it represents opportunity. The ability to reach workplaces, markets, or construction sites where wages are earned, dreams are built, and families are supported. The road curves gently, revealing sections where improvements are visible. New stretches of tarred surface offer smoother passage, though they are interspersed with rougher portions where work is incomplete. Along these segments, motorbikes like this one gain a clear advantage. Where cars hesitate and crawl, the motorbike can slip through, reducing journey times significantly. Riders lean forward slightly, balancing agility with caution, aware of the risks but unwilling to lose the precious minutes that gridlock would otherwise consume. The changing landscape along the road tells its own story. To the left and right, plots of land that were empty a decade ago are now filled with structures. Some are imposing multi-story residences with painted facades and decorative gates. Others are modest single-floor homes still in progress, with scaffolding leaning against their sides and piles of sand waiting to be spread. Construction workers move steadily, their presence a daily reminder of how East Legon Hills has transformed into one of Accra's most desirable residential zones. The road is the lifeline that sustains this growth, enabling the transport of cement, steel, wood, and the labourers who carry them. As the motorbike continues, the road narrows again near a cluster of shops. Here, the activity intensifies. Women sell fruits arranged neatly on wooden tables. Men repair motorbikes by the roadside, their tools clinking rhythmically. Children dart in and out of shops to buy breakfast before heading to class. The smell of fried eggs, bread, and tea wafts into the air, mingling with the scent of petrol from passing vehicles. This mixture is familiar to every Ghanaian commuter. It is the sensory evidence of a community alive at dawn. In this stretch, the road's imperfections become clear once again. Potholes force drivers to slow, creating minor traffic jams even in the early hours. Motorbikes slide around the obstacles, sometimes kicking up small sprays of dust and gravel. A few trucks carry construction materials, blocks, sand, iron rods, further slowing progress. Yet for all its challenges, this road is filled with resilience. People adapt, they maneuver, they wait, and they push forward, knowing that the journey must continue regardless of obstacles. The motorbike ride continues past estates that represent the modern face of Accra's expansion. Names like East Legon Hills Villas and Dream Homes Estate are displayed proudly on large signboards. Gated entrances reveal rows of new houses, many freshly painted, others still under construction. Real estate developers have seized on the strategic location of this road, recognizing that as Accra expands eastward, connectivity to Tema and central Accra makes East Legon Hills and Borteyman prime areas for investment. Land values have surged, transforming early purchasers into overnight millionaires. For those just arriving, the opportunity still exists, though at a higher cost. The ride reaches a portion where the road widens slightly, and here the view expands as well. From this vantage point, one can see the sweep of rooftops, clusters of trees that remain untouched, and the gradual slope leading toward Borteyman. The horizon is punctuated by cranes and half-built structures, evidence of constant development. Every morning, this site greets commuters, a blend of nature's calm and human ambition, coexisting in fragile balance. Further along, vendors with brightly coloured umbrellas dot the roadside. Their goods range from food to mobile phone credit, second-hand clothes, and even small electronics. These micro-businesses survive on the lifeblood of passing commuters, proof of how roads stimulate commerce not just at the macro level, but in the smallest exchanges. A few cedis here and there, multiplied across hundreds of transactions daily, keep families afloat. Roads do not just move cars, they move economies. As the motorbike weaves through another congested patch, the rhythm of daily life becomes more apparent. Trotros, Ghana's iconic minibuses, stop suddenly to pick up passengers, horns blaring to signal availability. Passengers hurry aboard, clutching bags and balancing goods. The driver shouts out destinations in a familiar cadence, blending with the ambient noise of radios playing high-life music. Each stop adds to the congestion, but each stop also adds to the lifeline of connectivity that roads like this provide. The morning sun now rises higher, illuminating the activity with stronger light. Shadows shorten, and the heat begins to intensify. For motorbike riders, this is both a blessing and a challenge. Visibility improves, but the ride becomes hotter, the tarmac radiating warmth upward. Sweat beads on the forehead, wiped away quickly as the ride continues. The Borteyman Sports Complex comes into distant view, though still far off. Built as a centerpiece for the African Games, it is one of the most significant developments along this corridor. Its presence has elevated Borteyman's status, turning it into a name recognized not just in Ghana, but across the continent. The very decision to build such a facility here underscores the importance of the School Junction to Borteyman Road. Without reliable access, the sports complex would not serve its intended purpose. Passing through residential clusters, the motorbike reveals the lives of ordinary people. A mother braids her daughter's hair by the roadside before school. A young man carries a heavy load of yams on the back of his bike to sell at market. A shopkeeper opens shutters with a loud clatter, preparing for the day's trade. These small glimpses remind us that the road is not just infrastructure. It is part of the intimate rhythm of daily survival. Traffic thickens again near another junction. Cars edge forward slowly, their drivers' faces reflecting fatigue even so early in the day. Motorbikes slide between them, some carrying passengers with anxious expressions, others loaded with goods tied precariously. The cacophony of horns rises and falls like waves, punctuated occasionally by the whistle of a traffic warden attempting to restore order. In such moments, the advantage of the motorbike becomes undeniable, a tool of mobility in a city where time lost to traffic is time lost to productivity. The road continues to undulate, alternating between smooth tar and bumpy gravel. Each segment tells a story of progress delayed but not denied. Sections completed remind commuters of what is possible. Sections unfinished remind them of the work that remains. Yet through it all, the road carries on, and so do the people. The ride presses forward, merging with the current of life that pulses steadily toward Borteyman. The sun climbs further, casting a glow that reflects off the painted walls of estates and the metal roofs of shops. The energy of the morning peaks. Children are now fully on their way to school, their bright uniforms forming rivers of colour on the roadside. Workers on bicycles, motorbikes, and in cars hurry with renewed urgency. Vendors call louder, hoping to catch the last customers before the rush subsides. The road is at its busiest, alive with the choreography of a city in motion. The motorbike moves past stretches where land remains undeveloped, patches of greenery that stand as reminders of what this area once was. Farmers still cultivate small plots here, their crops growing beside construction sites. It is a picture of coexistence, the old and the new side by side, each shaping the identity of East Legon Hills and Borteyman. And so the ride continues, a steady forward motion that reflects both the challenges and the triumphs of urban life. From School Junction to Borteyman, the road is a narrative written in asphalt, dust, sweat, and ambition. Every morning, thousands of people contribute a new chapter, their journeys intertwined in ways both visible and unseen. This motorbike ride is not just transportation, it is immersion into the heartbeat of Accra's transformation. The ride presses forward, the sound of the motorbike blending with the layered orchestra of city life. The road opens briefly, offering a clear stretch where the bike accelerates, the rush of wind providing a momentary relief from the rising heat. For a few seconds, there is freedom, the sensation of movement unrestrained by traffic. Yet the reprieve is short-lived. Soon, another cluster of vehicles appears ahead, reminding the rider that this corridor is shared by thousands every single morning. A truck laden with cement bags grinds slowly in the right lane, its wheels straining under the load. Behind it, smaller cars honk impatiently, searching for space to overtake. The motorbike slides carefully along the left, avoiding potholes while passing the stationary vehicles. Such scenes are repeated daily, a rhythm commuters know all too well. Each day brings the same obstacles, and each day demands the same resilience to push through. Shops along this stretch begin to show more activity as the sun rises higher. A barber shop opens its doors, the buzzing of clippers soon to fill the air. A tailor arranges freshly sewn school uniforms on a hanger outside his shop, hoping to catch the eye of parents passing by. A small cafe serves hot porridge in plastic cups, the steam rising into the morning air. These businesses thrive because of the road. Without it, their customers would be fewer, their trade less reliable. Roads create possibilities not just for commuters, but for entire economies woven into their edges. The motorbike continues past stretches where land remains undeveloped. Tall grasses sway in the wind, dotted with wildflowers and the occasional tree. But even here, wooden signposts stand, advertising plots for sale. Developers see potential in every empty field, and soon these too will be cleared, fenced, and turned into residential or commercial properties. The transformation of this corridor is relentless, propelled forward by the existence of the road. Ahead, a small roadside market comes into view. Stalls with corrugated metal roofs and wooden tables display vegetables, fruits, and tubers. Plantains are stacked neatly, tomatoes glisten red in shallow bowls, and cassava lies in heaps, ready for buyers. Women call out prices with practiced voices, their children helping to arrange goods or count money. The motorbike slows slightly, careful to navigate the crowd of shoppers and vehicles that stop briefly to make purchases. Markets like this depend entirely on passing traffic. Every honk, every stop, every customer sustains livelihoods built on the margins of the road. The journey resumes with the bike weaving back into the flow of cars and trotros. The sun now casts long beams that highlight the uneven surface of the road, making every crack and dip visible. Drivers swerve frequently, their movements unpredictable, demanding constant vigilance from the motorbike rider. Despite the risks, the bike remains the fastest option, gliding through spaces too narrow for cars to attempt. Efficiency and danger exist side by side here, a reminder that the advantages of mobility are balanced by ever-present risk. To the left, a new fuel station gleams with bright signage, freshly painted pumps, and attendants in matching uniforms. It is a symbol of how commerce follows development. As soon as the road began improving, investors place their bets, knowing that fuel stations are magnets for activity. Cars line up for petrol, motorbikes fill their tanks, and travellers purchase snacks or water inside the station's shop. Such stations are more than just fuel stops. They are gathering points, places where communities intersect. Further along, construction becomes the dominant scene. Large estates rise one after another, each with distinct branding promising comfort, security, and modern living. Billboards advertise 3-bedroom houses with payment plans, targeting the growing middle class eager to secure property in Accra's expanding suburbs. Workers haul blocks, mix cement, and climb scaffolding, their daily labour shaping the skyline of tomorrow. The motorbike passes these sites quickly, yet the impression lingers. This road is no longer just a connector. It is the foundation upon which dreams of home ownership are built. Amidst this progress, the challenges are equally visible. Traffic snarls intensify as cars slow for potholes, and in some sections, water collects in shallow pools from overnight rain. Drivers maneuver cautiously, but the road's limitations are undeniable. A mother on the back of a motorbike holds her child tightly as the rider navigates through uneven patches, determined to reach school before the morning bell. Nearby, a delivery van halts, its axle damaged by a pothole too deep to escape unscathed. Such moments highlight the urgent need for repairs, expansion, and modernization. The ride carries on, passing through a stretch where small businesses line both sides. Hardware shops display buckets, iron rods, and plumbing supplies stacked outside, a clear sign of the area's dependence on construction. These shops flourish because demand is constant. Every new home requires materials, every estate needs tools, and every project fuels the cycle of supply and demand. Without the road, transporting such goods would be difficult, but with it, business remains steady. Motorbikes are everywhere now, each carrying its own story. Some have passengers clutching bags of groceries. Others transport 2 or even 3 children in school uniforms. Riders wear helmets, or sometimes none at all, their faces determined as they weave through the morning chaos. Together, they create a dance of movement, each decision a calculation between speed, safety, and survival. The motorbike is not merely a vehicle. It is a symbol of adaptation in a city where traffic consumes hours and time is precious. The sun climbs higher still, warming the asphalt beneath. Dust rises where the surface is weak, coating leaves and walls with a fine layer. A few hawkers move between vehicles, balancing goods on their heads with practiced grace. Cold water, plantain chips, phone chargers, and even newspapers are offered to drivers stuck in traffic. Their voices rise above the honking, each sale a small victory. The road provides them with opportunity, but also with risk as they dodge between cars, their livelihoods depending on seconds of attention from passing commuters. Soon, the Borteyman Sports Complex appears more clearly on the horizon. Its modern design and imposing presence stand in stark contrast to the older, modest buildings surrounding it. For many, it represents progress, a symbol of Ghana's readiness to host continental events and showcase national pride. Its location here has elevated Borteyman, drawing investment and infrastructure improvements. Without this facility, the School Junction to Borteyman Road might not have received the same urgency for development. As the motorbike approaches, the complex dominates the view. Workers clean its grounds, preparing for upcoming events. Locals gather nearby, some selling snacks and drinks to visitors, others simply watching the activity. The road leading here has become more than a commuter path. It is now an access point to one of Ghana's premier sports facilities. The potential for growth is immense, from tourism to hospitality, and all of it depends on the accessibility provided by this very corridor. Continuing beyond the sports complex, the road once again narrows, lined by trees and smaller homes. Children wave as the motorbike passes, their laughter cutting through the noise of engines. A farmer leads goats across the road, slowing traffic briefly, but no one complains. Life here is a mixture of urban rush and rural persistence, each influencing the other. This blend defines Borteyman, a community on the edge of transformation, yet still holding on to pieces of its past. The final approach toward Borteyman reveals the full spectrum of change. On one side, high walls and new estates project wealth and modernity. On the other, modest homes built of wood and tin roofs stand resilient. Between them, the road carries all: the wealthy in air-conditioned SUVs, the middle class in compact cars, the working class on trotros, and those with little else but determination on motorbikes. This coexistence makes the road not just a physical connector, but a social equalizer, where status and struggle move side by side. The motorbike slows as it enters Borteyman proper. Here, the energy shifts slightly. The bustle of School Junction feels distant, replaced by a steadier rhythm. Shops cater to both locals and visitors, food sellers prepare meals, and residents go about their day. The journey has revealed more than a road. It has revealed a microcosm of Accra's evolution. School Junction to Borteyman is not simply a route. It is a mirror of the nation's progress, reflecting both the struggles of today and the promise of tomorrow. The ride, though physically complete, continues in its significance. Every morning, thousands repeat this journey, each adding their own experience to the shared story of the road. It is a story of resilience in the face of traffic, of ambition in the rise of estates, of opportunity in roadside markets, and of vision in the shadow of the sports complex. The School Junction to Borteyman Road is more than asphalt. It is life, movement, and the unending march of a city that refuses to stand still. The air thickens with the scent of roasted corn and groundnut paste as the motorbike glides deeper into the road linking School Junction and Borteyman. Women sit by small coal pots, fanning the flames while arranging corn cobs neatly on the grill, their smoke curling into the sky. Beside them, children run errands, carrying plastic bags of breakfast porridge to families still preparing for the day. Every face tells a story of determination, of people who depend on this road not only to travel, but also to survive. Vehicles crawl slowly ahead, their brake lights flashing intermittently like a rhythm known only to the road itself. Each sudden halt signals another obstacle, sometimes a pothole, sometimes a pedestrian crossing, or perhaps a driver waiting for passengers. The motorbike rider navigates this landscape with instinct born of routine. Each turn of the handlebar is precise, each glance over the shoulder careful, and each acceleration a measured risk. The dance of movement continues, a choreography of necessity that repeats every dawn. The heat of the morning begins to intensify, the once gentle light of sunrise replaced by the fiercer glare of the sun. Sweat glistens on the brows of traders, taxi drivers, and motorbike riders alike. School children, their brightly coloured uniforms now slightly dusted from the roadside air, march on dutifully with books in hand. Their laughter rises above the drone of engines, their innocence unfazed by the chaos that surrounds them. They too are part of this daily drama, their small feet adding to the rhythm of movement that drives the corridor forward. The motorbike swerves gently to the side to avoid a pothole that has collected water from the previous night's drizzle. Reflections shimmer in the pool, distorting the view of passing clouds. A car ahead slows too late, splashing muddy water onto the roadside where a hawker stands with goods balanced on her head. She shakes her head, wipes her arm, and continues shouting prices to passing passengers. For her, frustration is fleeting. Opportunity cannot be lost to anger when every seed eye counts. A cluster of shops comes into view, their signage brightly advertising everything from mobile money transfers to hairdressing services and spare parts. These are the pillars of small business, the unsung drivers of local economies. Men sit outside under umbrellas, chatting as they wait for customers needing tyre repairs. A welder sparks his tools into life, the flash catching the eye of commuters. From welding shops to barber chairs, these enterprises flourish because the road feeds them with constant traffic. Without the flow of people, their trade would fade, but with every motorbike, trotro, and car that passes, hope remains alive. The motorbike overtakes a slow-moving bus, its passengers staring out through open windows at the shifting scenery. Some are headed to work in central Accra, others to markets in Tema, and a few perhaps to visit relatives in the estates rising steadily around Borteyman. Each person carries ambitions shaped by this road, whether it is reaching a job interview on time, delivering goods for trade, or simply making it to class before the morning bell. Their silent gazes reflect the weight of journeys repeated countless times, journeys that shape the rhythm of life in Accra. Roadside billboards begin to dominate the skyline as the ride continues. One advertises a new gated estate with promises of security, electricity, and serene living. Another announces the opening of a private school, boasting modern classrooms and international curricula. Yet another promotes a new shopping plaza, soon to bring retail convenience to the neighbourhood. These signs are more than marketing. They are declarations of a changing landscape, signals of ambition transforming the horizon. The motorbike passes a small open field where children kick a makeshift football, their shouts rising above the hum of engines. Their ball is little more than rags tied together, yet their joy is boundless. The game pauses only when a vehicle strays too close, forcing the players to scatter briefly before regrouping once the dust settles. Here, amid the rush of commuters, children carve out their own space of happiness, a reminder that even in the midst of development, life's simplest pleasures endure. Another section of the road reveals freshly tarred surface, its dark sheen contrasting with the worn portions already behind. Cars accelerate here, grateful for the smoothness, their engines humming more freely. Yet just ahead, construction signs warn of ongoing work, and the sudden narrowing forces vehicles once again into tight formation. The motorbike glides forward regardless, undeterred by the transitions from new to old, from smooth to rough. For the rider, adaptation is instinct, and progress is measured in meters conquered. On the roadside, a group of workers in bright vests gather around a pile of gravel. Their shovels rise and fall in rhythm, spreading materials to patch up weak areas. Their faces shine with sweat, but their determination speaks louder than their fatigue. Every shovel of gravel, every swing of a pickaxe contributes to the collective ambition of reshaping this corridor. Their presence is a reminder that roads are not static. They are living projects, always in need of repair, always under construction, always carrying the weight of both dreams and disappointments. As the motorbike continues, clusters of estates dominate the landscape once more. High walls topped with electric wires surround freshly painted houses, symbols of security and aspiration. Cars with foreign license plates sit parked in neat driveways, evidence of diaspora families investing in homes here. The architecture varies from modern villas with sharp lines and glass balconies to more modest functional structures designed for extended families. Every design tells a story of migration, ambition, and belonging, with the road serving as the essential link that brings these homes into the fabric of the city. A herd of goats crosses suddenly, their bleating piercing the air as they trot across the tarmac. Vehicles slow abruptly, drivers honking in irritation, but the animals move without concern, as if claiming their right to the path. Children chase them, laughing as they try to redirect the herd. For a brief moment, the modern rush of traffic collides with the timeless rhythm of rural life. This juxtaposition defines much of Accra's outer communities, where development coexists uneasily, yet beautifully with tradition. The motorbike slows near another roadside market, larger than the earlier one. Here, the variety is wider. Smoked fish arranged on wooden planks, baskets of oranges stacked high, sacks of rice piled neatly, and electronics laid out for sale. The soundscape is vibrant, vendors calling, radios blaring music, customers bargaining fiercely. The road is the lifeline of this market. Every passing car or motorbike is a potential sale. Every traffic jam a window of opportunity for hawkers to press their goods into waiting hands. Leaving the market behind, the motorbike picks up speed again. The scenery begins to change, revealing signs of larger infrastructural influence. Electricity poles line the road in neat succession, their wires stretching into the horizon, carrying light and connectivity to homes and businesses. Drainage systems, though incomplete in places, signal attempts to curb the flooding that once plagued this corridor. Progress is visible, even if uneven, and commuters witness daily the push and pull between what has been achieved and what remains undone. The sound of the motorbike echoes against a tall wall painted with advertisements for construction companies. Behind the wall, heavy machinery rumbles, digging foundations for another estate. Cranes loom above, their silhouettes stark against the bright sky. Workers in helmets walk briskly, coordinating tasks with shouts and whistles. This is the future being built brick by brick, and the road outside is the artery that sustains it. Without the ability to transport materials, labour, and investors, such projects would falter. With the road, however, they thrive, each new development cementing Borteyman's reputation as a rising hub. The ride continues toward an open stretch where fewer buildings stand. Here, the road feels wider, the air less cluttered with exhaust, and the view extends further. Patches of greenery remain, dotted with tall palm trees and shrubs. Farmers work the land, tilling soil with hoes, watering crops, and tending to livestock. This glimpse of rural persistence is striking, positioned alongside the rapid urbanization happening just a short distance away. It is a reminder that development often carries a duality, one foot in tradition, the other in modernity. The motorbike passes a small school, its compound filled with the voices of children reciting lessons aloud in unison. The sound carries through the open windows, rhythmic and determined. Education thrives here because the road makes it possible for teachers and students alike to gather daily. Without this connectivity, such institutions would struggle, isolated by poor access. Instead, the road sustains not only commerce, but also the transfer of knowledge, the preparation of a new generation to inherit the very corridors being shaped before their eyes. The air thickens once more with the smell of food as another group of food sellers prepares mid-morning meals. Banks of benches host workers grabbing a quick bite before continuing their journey. Bowls of rice and beans, stews, and fried plantains are served swiftly, the clatter of utensils merging with the murmur of conversation. These food joints, modest as they may appear, are vital cogs in the economy. They provide nourishment for builders, drivers, and traders, fueling the very labour that keeps development alive. The motorbike swerves past a trotro halted at the side, its conductor leaning out to call passengers. The vehicle is filled with chatter, people discussing politics, football, and the challenges of daily living. Conversations here are raw, shaped by lived experience. Complaints about traffic mix with laughter about family stories, forming a soundtrack of resilience. Every passenger shares in the collective truth. This road is difficult, but it is indispensable. The sun now sits higher overhead, shadows shrinking as the heat grows heavier. The ride becomes more intense, the wind offering less relief, the tarmac radiating energy upward. Still, the flow continues, motorbikes slicing through, cars edging forward, hawkers moving with determination. Nothing halts the momentum entirely, for each person knows the necessity of this corridor. Every morning and every evening, it remains a constant, a stage upon which the daily play of Accra is performed. The hum of engines grows heavier as the motorbike pushes deeper into the corridor. The road here feels older, worn by the relentless pressure of countless vehicles. Tyres crunch against loose gravel where the surface has broken away, sending tiny stones scattering with each turn of the wheels. Yet, the journey presses on, for nothing, neither potholes nor dust, halts the determination of those who must travel this road each day. Life demands forward motion, and this road, despite its scars, delivers it. A cluster of kiosks lines the roadside, painted in vibrant colours advertising everything from mobile network services to herbal medicine. Loudspeakers crackle with voices promoting miracle cures, their rhythm competing with the constant honking of vehicles. Customers pause briefly, buying sachet water, bread, or phone credit before hurrying back into the current of movement. Each small transaction echoes the economic reality of the corridor. Prosperity is not just in massive estates, but in the everyday survival of those who trade in seconds and CDs. The motorbike weaves past a stationary vehicle whose hood is lifted, steam rising as the driver waves desperately for help. A mechanic emerges from a nearby workshop, pushing a wheelbarrow of tools toward the stranded car. Scenes like this are common here. Breakdowns caused by uneven terrain, overheated engines, or mechanical fatigue. The road not only carries people forward, it also sustains mechanics, vulcanizers, and spare parts sellers who thrive on its imperfections. For them, the road's flaws are both a challenge and a livelihood. The ride continues, revealing a group of schoolchildren waiting patiently by the roadside. Their uniforms are crisp, their bags neatly strapped to their backs, but their faces carry the weariness of routine. Each morning, they must navigate the dust, the noise, and the risks of crossing a busy road to access education. Parents hover nearby, some clutching their children's hands tightly, others watching anxiously from a distance. The road provides access, but it also demands vigilance. For every opportunity it creates, it presents dangers that must be navigated carefully. As the motorbike presses forward, the skyline begins to shift once more. New construction sites dominate the horizon, their cranes towering above the rooftops. Billboards proudly display architectural designs of houses yet to be completed, their glossy images promising a future of modern living and comfort. Real estate agents' phone numbers are printed boldly, enticing those who dream of owning a home in Accra's expanding frontiers. The transformation is relentless. Land that once echoed with the sound of crickets now vibrates with the roar of machines. The sun climbs higher, and the road shimmers faintly with heat. Vendors move strategically into shaded areas, arranging stools and umbrellas to shield themselves from the harsh rays. Bottled water is sold rapidly, carried by hawkers weaving between vehicles stuck in yet another jam. Some drivers roll down windows, exchanging coins for refreshments. Others remain shut off in air-conditioned cars, their worlds separate yet equally dependent on the road. In these moments, the contrasts of society are laid bare. Wealth and struggle existing side by side, united by the necessity of movement. The motorbike swerves carefully to avoid a taxi that has stopped abruptly to pick up passengers. The conductor leans out, shouting destinations in a voice sharpened by repetition. Commuters crowd in, bags squeezed onto laps, shoulders pressed together, conversations already spilling into the confined space. For many, this is the reality of daily travel. Long hours in cramped trotros, patience tested by delays, yet endured because the road is the lifeline to work, markets, and survival. Shadows stretch across the ground as tall trees appear sporadically, their leaves rustling in the dry morning air. Birds dart overhead, their calls faintly audible above the noise of traffic. These glimpses of nature offer brief relief from the relentless urban push, reminders of a landscape that still remembers its roots. Farmers can be seen in the distance, bending over crops, their hoes rising and falling in steady rhythm. They too rely on this corridor, using it to transport harvest to markets in Accra and Tema. Ahead, the road dips slightly, revealing a view of distant rooftops shimmering in the heat. The motorbike leans into the curve, steady hands guiding it past vehicles locked in hesitant maneuvers. A bus ahead releases a cloud of dark smoke as it accelerates, its engines straining under the weight of passengers. Motorists behind wave their hands in irritation, but the bus pushes forward stubbornly, unbothered by their frustration. Such moments define the road, an environment where patience is tested, tempers flare, yet progress, however slow, is inevitable. At the roadside, a carpenter's workshop hums with activity. Wooden planks are stacked high, ready to be cut into furniture. Apprentices labour beside their master, sweat dripping as they sand surfaces smooth. A half-finished wardrobe leans against a wall, awaiting polish and delivery. Customers stop briefly, negotiating prices before continuing their commute. The road brings them here, connecting artisans with buyers, sustaining traditions of craftsmanship that endure even in the midst of rapid modernization. The motorbike overtakes another cluster of vehicles, passing a roadside mosque where worshippers kneel in prayer. The call to prayer had echoed earlier, its tones weaving through the morning noise, and now the faithful gather briefly to bow their heads. Religion thrives along the corridor just as commerce does, the two coexisting seamlessly. Churches too line the road, their compounds filled with banners announcing upcoming revivals or prayer sessions. Faith, like movement, is part of the fabric of this community. Dust swirls again as the bike reaches a stretch of road yet to be tarred. Cars slow to a crawl, their tyres sinking slightly into the loose soil. Windows are rolled up tightly to keep dust from settling inside. Motorbikes navigate more easily, though not without caution, their riders squinting through the haze. A woman coughs as she walks beside the road, shielding her child with a cloth. Here, the reality of incomplete development is unavoidable, a reminder of the work still needed to transform this corridor into the modern artery it is meant to be. The motorbike presses on, passing a group of young men gathered around a makeshift football pitch carved out beside the road. Their jerseys are mismatched, their boots worn, but their energy is boundless. They shout encouragement to each other, their movements fast and confident, dreams of professional stardom flickering in their minds. Every kick of the ball is a declaration of ambition, a refusal to be limited by environment. The road itself becomes part of their backdrop, its noise blending with their cheers. The ride nears another junction where the congestion thickens. Traders crowd closer here, their goods spilling into the road's edge. Stalls sell everything from spare parts to fried plantain, and customers haggle loudly, their voices rising above the sound of honking. A woman balances a basin of oranges on her head, moving gracefully through the crowd, her steps unbroken despite the chaos around her. Each person is locked into their own pursuit, yet together they form the collective heartbeat of the corridor. The sun now blazes fiercely, its rays unforgiving on commuters exposed to its glare. Yet life carries on, undeterred. Children continue to laugh as they make their way to school. Vendors continue to call out prices, and riders continue to weave carefully through the jam. Every element, heat, dust, congestion, becomes part of the routine, part of the daily resilience that defines those who depend on this road. The motorbike presses steadily on, its journey far from finished, each metre travelled adding another layer to the unfolding story of School Junction to Borteyman. The landscape begins to shift once again as taller structures emerge in the distance. Commercial buildings rise above the modest homes, their glass windows reflecting the harsh sun. Signs advertise offices for rent, banks opening new branches, and supermarkets promising convenience. The march of urbanisation is unmistakable here. What was once semi-rural is fast becoming a commercial hub. And beneath it all, the road carries the weight of progress, its scars evidence of the burdens it bears daily. The motorbike slows briefly near a fuel station where cars line up in neat queues. Attendants move quickly, filling tanks, cleaning windscreens, and exchanging smiles with customers. Drivers purchase drinks from the attached shop, stretching their legs before returning to their seats. A young man sells phone accessories outside, his display of chargers, earphones, and cases catching the eyes of waiting commuters. The fuel station hums with activity, a small universe of transactions sustained entirely by the road's steady flow. With a twist of the throttle, the motorbike continues past, its rider scanning the path ahead with focus. The road narrows slightly once again, bordered by drains covered in concrete slabs. In places, the slabs are broken, creating hazards for pedestrians. A child jumps carefully over one such gap, clutching her mother's hand tightly. Their footsteps echo the shared truth of this corridor. Safety is often improvised, but the journey must continue regardless. The ride presses on into the growing heat of the day, every moment a reflection of Accra's wider transformation. The School Junction to Borteyman Road is not merely infrastructure. It is a living narrative of resilience, ambition, and survival. Each passing kilometre adds another voice to its story. Voices of commuters, traders, farmers, workers, and dreamers, all moving forward together, bound by the shared necessity of connection. The sound of engines grows louder as the corridor becomes busier with every passing minute. Morning has fully arrived, and the rhythm of the city is now at its peak. The motorbike rides steadily, balancing speed with caution, weaving through narrow spaces between cars and trotros that move sluggishly. Each overtaking maneuver feels like threading a needle, the precision honed from countless journeys along this road. The air is filled with exhaust fumes, dust, and the unmistakable aroma of fried dough balls being sold at roadside stalls. People eat quickly as they walk, juggling breakfast with the urgency of getting to their destinations. Ahead, a bus conductor bangs the side of his trotro, signalling the driver to pull over. Passengers rush toward it, their footsteps quick against the dusty ground. A young woman clutches her handbag tightly, glancing nervously as she squeezes into the crowded bus. A man carries a sack of vegetables, his strength evident as he hoists it onto the roof rack with practiced ease. The motorbike slips past, avoiding the sudden congestion caused by the loading vehicle. This moment captures the duality of the road. It both enables and obstructs, depending on how it is used. The road narrows again, and traffic compresses into a single slow-moving line. The rider leans slightly forward, the hum of the motorbike a steady vibration beneath him. On the roadside, traders set up temporary stalls made from wooden planks and tarpaulins. They sell phone recharge cards, second-hand clothes, sandals, and even herbal medicines promised to cure every ailment. Each voice competes for attention, rising above the noise of honks and engines. For many, the road is their shopfront, their only connection to customers, and their entire livelihood depends on the people who pass by. Children walk carefully along the edge of the road, their uniforms dusty, their shoes scuffed from the daily trek. Some carry small bags, others only notebooks held tightly to their chests. They talk animatedly to one another, laughter punctuating their conversations. A teacher passes by on a motorbike, nodding to her students as she heads toward the school compound further ahead. Education flourishes here because of the road. Without it, teachers would struggle to arrive, and students would be cut off from opportunity. Every step they take on this journey is a step toward a better future, one paved by the access this corridor provides. The motorbike accelerates slightly, finding a brief opening between cars. The wind brushes against the rider's face, offering momentary relief from the heat. Palm trees sway gently at the roadside, their leaves shimmering in the sunlight. Between them, half-finished buildings stand in various stages of construction. Some are skeletal frames of concrete and steel, others already roofed and painted, awaiting the final touches of glass windows or interior work. Construction is everywhere, on the roadside, behind walls, and in the distance, each project fueled by the promise of development that the School Junction to Borteyman Road embodies. A vendor pushes a wheelbarrow laden with bottled water and soft drinks, maneuvering skillfully through the gaps between vehicles. He taps on car windows, offering refreshment to weary commuters trapped in the traffic. Some decline, others purchase quickly, coins exchanged with practiced speed. His trade is simple, yet it thrives because traffic is predictable, congestion inevitable, and thirst universal. The road sustains him just as much as it sustains the corporations building massive estates in the background. The scale may differ, but the dependency is the same. The motorbike swerves gently to avoid a cyclist balancing crates of eggs strapped to the back of his bicycle. Each bump threatens to topple the fragile load, yet the rider pedals steadily, eyes fixed ahead, determined to complete his delivery. These are the quieter heroes of the corridor, people whose daily toil is rarely celebrated, but who form the invisible veins of the city's economy. The motorbike passes him respectfully, giving space, the two riders acknowledging each other with a brief nod before continuing their respective journeys. A large signboard appears, advertising land for sale. The bold letters promise affordable plots with flexible payment plans, urging potential buyers to invest in what is described as the future of Accra. Contact numbers are listed in oversized fonts, easy for drivers and riders to note down as they pass. These signboards are everywhere, standing like silent witnesses to the land boom that has swept across East Legon Hills and Borteyman. What was once neglected farmland is now prime real estate, its value multiplied by the steady improvement of this road. The sun beats down relentlessly, and shadows fade as the morning inches closer to noon. Sweat trickles down the backs of workers in reflective vests as they dig trenches for drainage systems. Their shovels strike the earth rhythmically, their bodies moving in unison like parts of a larger machine. Nearby, a supervisor gestures, his voice raised above the clatter of work. Every stroke of effort, every bead of sweat, pushes this road closer to its intended form, modern, reliable, and capable of handling the pressure of thousands of vehicles each day. The motorbike glides past yet another estate, its walls tall and freshly painted in cream and brown. Security guards stand at the entrance, their uniforms pressed, their eyes scanning each vehicle that enters. Inside, rows of identical houses stretch neatly, their rooftops aligned, their driveways filled with cars of varying sizes. Children play in the compound, their laughter echoing faintly beyond the walls. To the outside rider, it is a world glimpsed only briefly, a testament to the changing fortunes of the area. The road outside, busy and chaotic, is the artery that sustains this world of order and aspiration. As the motorbike presses on, a distant drumming sound becomes audible. A small group gathers beneath a canopy at the roadside, their drums beating in rhythm while voices rise in song. The gathering is a funeral, a moment of mourning and celebration entwined. Vehicles slow respectfully as they pass, drivers casting quick glances at the solemn event. Funerals are frequent in communities like this, and the road plays its part, carrying mourners from far and near to pay their respects. The music, though sorrowful, blends into the larger symphony of the corridor, another thread in the tapestry of daily life. Dust rises again as the motorbike crosses another untarred patch. Here, the road feels uneven, the bumps jarring, the air thick with grit that clings to skin and clothes. Cars inch forward cautiously, their tires struggling for grip. Motorbikes, however, move more confidently, their smaller frames better suited for the challenge. Riders lean into the task, their faces set with focus. For them, this is routine, an inconvenience accepted as part of the journey. The struggle through dust and potholes is balanced by the knowledge that the road will eventually improve, as others already have. The corridor grows louder still as another market zone appears. Here, the density is greater, the crowd thicker, the voices louder. Fresh produce lines, wooden tables, electronics are displayed on mats, and clothes hang from makeshift racks. Hawkers dart between vehicles, holding up belts, sunglasses, and wristwatches. Music blares from a speaker, competing with the cacophony of bargaining. For the motorbike rider, it is both a spectacle and an obstacle, the press of humanity forcing slower movement through the congested passage. Yet without these markets, the community would lack vibrancy, and the road itself would feel incomplete. Passing beyond the market, the road widens slightly, offering relief. The motorbike picks up speed, the air rushing faster, cooling sweat-drenched skin. The rider breathes deeply, savouring the momentary openness. To the sides, the land stretches out in patches of greenery dotted with houses. The duality of development is clear. One patch remains untouched, with cassava fields swaying in the breeze, while the next is fenced off, marked for future construction. This is the rhythm of change, each plot either holding on to the past or yielding to the future. The motorbike overtakes a taxi carrying 3 passengers, their conversations spilling out through open windows. They argue heatedly about politics, their voices rising and falling in sync with the car's motion. Such debates are common on this road, where people of all walks of life share cramped spaces, their frustrations and hopes finding voice in discussions about leadership, governance, and the nation's direction. The road becomes not only a connector of places but also a crucible of opinion, a space where democracy finds its rawest expression. A billboard for the Borteyman Sports Complex soon dominates the horizon, its design sleek, its message bold. It reminds travellers of the facility's role in hosting the African Games, of its status as a national symbol of pride. As the motorbike draws closer, the complex itself emerges, its grand architecture rising proudly above the surrounding buildings. Its presence is commanding, a visible declaration that Borteyman has stepped onto the continental stage. For the rider, the sight is both awe-inspiring and affirming, proof that this road, despite its challenges, leads to places of significance. Around the complex, vendors gather, selling snacks, drinks, and souvenirs. Some offer roasted meat skewers, the aroma drifting invitingly. Others sell flags and jerseys, their colours bright against the dusty backdrop. The road here feels different, infused with the energy of visitors and the anticipation of events. It is not just a corridor for locals, but also a gateway for athletes, fans, and dignitaries. Its role has expanded, its importance magnified by the presence of a structure that represents national ambition. Leaving the sports complex behind, the road stretches once more toward the heart of Borteyman. The motorbike rides steadily, passing homes both grand and humble, markets both small and sprawling, people both hurried and unhurried. Each moment adds depth to the narrative, each scene a fragment of a larger whole. The School Junction to Borteyman Road is not simply a path. It is a living story, unfolding with every journey, written in the footsteps of children, the sweat of workers, the ambitions of investors, and the resilience of commuters. The rider presses on, his journey far from over, his mind absorbing the countless details that make this corridor unique. Every honk, every shout, every laugh, every sigh becomes part of the symphony. The road continues to pulse, alive, unyielding, and essential. From School Junction to Borteyman, the story flows endlessly, a testament to the enduring spirit of Accra and the unstoppable march of development. The motorbike moves forward steadily, its tyres humming against the uneven surface as the day grows brighter and hotter. The sky has turned from the soft gold of morning into a sharp, blazing blue, the sun hanging firmly overhead. The once gentle morning traffic has transformed into a dense, pressing tide of vehicles, each inching forward with determination. The rhythm of horns and shouts merges into a constant hum, a living soundtrack of urgency and impatience. Yet, amidst the congestion, life carries on with unwavering resilience. A row of kiosks appears by the roadside, each brightly decorated with paint faded by dust, but still vibrant in its own way. One offers mobile money transfers, another displays loaves of fresh bread stacked behind glass, while a third advertises tailoring services with clothes hanging in the open air. Customers gather in small clusters, haggling over prices, exchanging greetings, and carrying away small purchases. The motorbike rider slows slightly, weaving around pedestrians stepping onto the road, their bags heavy with the morning's shopping. Here, the road becomes not just a highway, but a marketplace, a stage upon which livelihoods play out. The heat intensifies, radiating off the tarmac in shimmering waves. Drivers roll down windows in frustration, waving hands at hawkers who dart between cars selling chilled water and snacks. The hawkers' persistence is unmatched. Each step they take is a calculated move, each shout a plea for attention. Some succeed, coins changing hands quickly, while others move on to the next car without pause. For them, the road is a living economy, unpredictable yet indispensable, providing both opportunity and risk in equal measure. As the motorbike passes through this dense cluster of activity, it overtakes a line of trotros idling by the roadside. Conductors shout their destinations in rapid succession. Tema! Tema! Tema straight! Their voices cutting through the haze of noise. Passengers hurry aboard, their faces weary but hopeful. Every seat filled is another chance for the driver to earn. Every trip made another contribution to the endless circulation of people and goods along the corridor. For these vehicles, the road is lifeblood, the artery without which their trade would collapse. The scenery shifts again as patches of undeveloped land open up between built-up sections. Tall grasses sway in the breeze, dotted with palm and neem trees that provide rare spots of shade. Farmers work quietly in the distance, hoes rising and falling as they till the soil. Cassava and maize grow in rows, reminders of the area's agricultural roots. Yet, even here, wooden signboards planted firmly in the earth declare land for sale, marking the inevitable spread of urbanization. These fields will not remain untouched for long. The future is already closing in, brick by brick, wall by wall. The motorbike speeds up slightly on a stretch of smoother asphalt, the ride momentarily comfortable and quiet compared to the chaos behind. On either side, high walls topped with barbed wire and electric fencing rise, guarding new estates. Security gates stand tall, with uniformed guards posted at their entrances. Inside, neat rows of houses gleam with fresh paint, gardens carefully trimmed, driveways filled with shiny SUVs. The estates feel worlds apart from the dusty roadside markets, yet both are tied together by the same road. The coexistence of wealth and modest struggle is stark, and the corridor reflects it unapologetically. A child stands at one estate gate, waving as the motorbike passes. His laughter echoes briefly before fading into the general din of the road. Such fleeting moments of innocence brighten the otherwise harsh commute, reminders that amidst the noise and dust, joy still finds a place. Life along this corridor is not only about survival and struggle, but also about the simple pleasures of community and connection. The motorbike overtakes a slow-moving truck laden with lumber. The logs are stacked high, tied precariously with ropes that creak under the strain. Each bump threatens to loosen the load, yet the driver pushes on, committed to his delivery. Motorists behind honk impatiently, but there is little choice but to wait for a safe chance to pass. This is the reality of a road that serves not only commuters, but also industry. Materials for construction, food supplies, fuel, and countless goods depend on this corridor, making it one of the most important veins in the body of the city. The rider slows as traffic thickens once more near a busy junction. Shops spill onto the roadside, their owners advertising goods with exaggerated shouts. Radios blare music, filling the air with highlife and Afrobeats rhythms. A preacher stands with a megaphone, declaring a message of salvation to anyone who will listen. His voice rises above the noise, accompanied by a handful of listeners who nod along in agreement. The road is not merely a conduit of movement, but also of culture, faith, and expression. Every day it carries not just bodies, but beliefs, conversations, and hopes. Further ahead, a large open drain runs parallel to the road. Its concrete slabs are broken in places, exposing stagnant water below. Pedestrians hop carefully from slab to slab, balancing bags on their heads as they cross. For them, the road is not simply about vehicles, it is also about finding safe passage on foot. Women carrying baskets of vegetables, men with toolboxes, children clutching books, all navigate the same corridor, weaving their paths among cars and motorbikes with practiced ease. Pedestrian life is as integral to the road's identity as the vehicles that dominate it. The motorbike swerves to avoid a pothole large enough to jolt even the most seasoned rider. Inside the crater, muddy water ripples with each passing car. Drivers curse under their breath, forced to slow to a crawl. Some attempt to bypass the pothole by edging dangerously close to the roadside drain, their wheels inches from disaster. This scene repeats itself countless times along the corridor, a testament to the need for repair and modernization. Yet commuters adapt, for they cannot afford to stop. The road demands resilience, and its users deliver it daily. The rider presses on, overtaking a cluster of cars stuck behind a stalled vehicle. A taxi driver shouts in frustration, waving his arms wildly as he attempts to maneuver around the blockage. Passengers sigh loudly, resigned to the delay. Meanwhile, motorbike riders like this one slip through gaps, moving steadily forward. This is why motorbikes dominate the corridor. Their ability to adapt quickly to every obstacle makes them indispensable in a city where time is a luxury. Yet the risks remain high, and each maneuver carries the weight of potential danger. The heat grows heavier, the sun now directly overhead. Vendors retreat into makeshift shelters, shielding themselves with umbrellas and cloth canopies. They fan themselves with folded cardboard, sipping from sachets of water between sales. Despite the discomfort, they remain at their posts, for leaving means missing the opportunity that passing traffic brings. The resilience of roadside traders mirrors that of the commuters they serve, both groups tied to the rhythm of the road, both unwilling to yield to its challenges. In the distance, the faint outline of Borteyman itself becomes visible. The motorbike rider pushes forward, sensing the nearing end of the journey. Yet the road still has stories to tell. A group of young men stand by the roadside, discussing football animatedly, their voices rising with each point made. A woman balances a tray of bananas on her head, her stride graceful despite the heat. A man pedals slowly on a bicycle, a sack of charcoal tied to the back, the weight bending the frame slightly. Each figure is part of the living tapestry of the corridor, their presence shaping the identity of the road. The motorbike glides past another school, its compound alive with the sound of children reciting lessons in unison. Their voices carry clearly, rising above the traffic noise like a chorus of ambition. Teachers move between classrooms, guiding the eager young minds within. Education thrives because the road allows it, connecting students and teachers, linking communities to institutions of learning. Every recitation, every exercise book, every chalkboard is sustained by the access this corridor provides. At last, the motorbike begins its final approach into the heart of Borteyman. Here, the road widens again, bordered by shops and homes that announce the character of the community. The mix of old and new is striking. Traditional wooden houses with rusted tin roofs sit side by side with freshly built concrete homes adorned with balconies. The hum of commerce is strong, from food stalls frying plantains to shops selling cement and building supplies. The road has carried everything here: people, goods, ideas, and in doing so has transformed Borteyman from a quiet settlement into a thriving hub. The journey reaches its end, but its story does not. The School Junction to Borteyman Road is more than a physical stretch of asphalt and gravel. It is a lifeline, a stage, an economy, and a culture. It is a story written daily in dust and sweat, in laughter and frustration, in ambition and resilience. Every motorbike ride, every trotro journey, every walk along its edges adds another line to this ever-growing narrative. And as the city of Accra expands, this road will only grow in importance, carrying forward the hopes of those who travel it. The motorbike eases forward into the busier heart of Borteyman, where the density of shops, homes, and human activity multiplies with every passing metre. The once sparse stretches of open land are now replaced by a compact mosaic of structures pressed closely together, each with its own unique function. Wooden kiosks painted in faded colours advertise mobile services, groceries, or hardware tools. Larger concrete shops display goods openly, their metal doors pulled wide to invite customers. Children weave between the stalls with playful energy, some carrying errands, others chasing each other in spontaneous games. The noise level is constant and layered. Bargaining voices, blaring radios, the steady honking of passing cars, and the mechanical grind of construction machines in the distance. The motorbike maneuvers through the press of traffic with care. A trotro has stopped abruptly ahead, blocking part of the road while passengers climb down with their belongings. A woman carries a sack of yams on her back, supported by a teenage boy who steadies the load. Another man shoulders a wooden crate filled with bottles, the glass clinking as he moves slowly toward a waiting shop. Everyone has a purpose, everyone moving toward a destination tied in some way to the lifeline that this road provides. Beyond the commotion, the sight of tall electric poles running parallel to the road becomes more pronounced. Their lines stretch endlessly, carrying power to homes, estates, schools, and shops that would otherwise be dark and silent. The road and its accompanying infrastructure serve as twin arteries, bringing both light and mobility to the area. Without these connections, the growth witnessed here would stall. With them, it surges forward. The motorbike rider takes in the view, aware that every wire above and every slab of asphalt below carries the weight of countless lives. An elderly man sits on a wooden bench outside a provision store, fanning himself slowly with a piece of cardboard. His eyes watch the movement on the road, perhaps with a mixture of pride and nostalgia. He remembers when this road was nothing but a dusty path, when only bicycles and the occasional truck passed through, and when Borteyman was more farmland than neighbourhood. Now, he witnesses the transformation daily. New houses rising, more vehicles filling the road, new faces arriving to claim space in the community. His presence is a living reminder that this corridor is not just about progress, but also about memory, about the generations who have lived through its evolution. The motorbike overtakes a group of young men on bicycles, each carrying loads tied precariously to their rear racks. One has a basket of tomatoes, another a sack of maize, and another a bundle of firewood. Their pace is slower, their effort visible in the tightening of muscles and the beads of sweat running down their temples. Yet they pedal steadily, accustomed to the strain, focused on their goal. Their quiet determination mirrors the very spirit of this corridor, where movement, no matter how slow, never ceases. The sun burns brighter now, and the glare bounces off the metal roofs of shops and houses. Women adjust cloths tied around their heads, shielding their eyes as they call out to passing customers. One waves roasted plantain skewers, their golden brown skins glistening in the light. Another arranges tomatoes into neat pyramids on a wooden table, her hands moving quickly and carefully. Business is relentless, for the road never stops offering customers. The flow of people ensures that someone is always ready to buy, always needing what the traders provide. The motorbike continues past a fuel station where cars queue impatiently. Attendants in bright uniforms move briskly between pumps, filling tanks and exchanging cash. Motorists honk to signal their impatience, while others step out to stretch their legs. A small shop inside the station sells snacks and drinks, drawing in customers who linger before resuming their journeys. The fuel station hums with activity, a miniature economy within itself, made possible by the artery of the road. The rider leans slightly forward as the motorbike accelerates into a brief stretch of open road. The wind rushes harder now, carrying with it the mixed sense of exhaust fumes, food, and dust. In this moment, freedom feels tangible, movement unhindered, the road unfolding like a ribbon toward the horizon. Yet soon the inevitable congestion returns, another cluster of cars pressing forward cautiously, another bottleneck to navigate. This rhythm of release and restraint is the essence of the corridor. Moments of speed punctuated by long pauses, a cycle that defines the commute of thousands. A church comes into view, its compound filled with chairs arranged beneath a canopy. Loudspeakers blast gospel music, the voices soaring above the din of the road. Worshippers gather, some clapping, others singing, their energy spilling beyond the compound walls. The traffic slows slightly as motorists glance at the lively gathering, their attention momentarily drawn to the celebration of faith. Religion is deeply woven into the corridor's identity, visible in the churches and mosques that line its length. Each serves as a beacon of hope and community, drawing in the faithful who depend on the road for access. The motorbike swerves slightly to avoid a pothole where rainwater has collected. A group of children splash playfully in the shallow puddle, their laughter ringing loudly as cars slow to avoid them. Their carefree joy contrasts with the frustration of drivers, but the scene is fleeting. Soon the children scatter and the road resumes its rhythm. These moments of innocence, brief yet powerful, remind all who witness them that life on the corridor is not defined solely by hardship, but also by the resilience of joy. As the journey continues, the first signs of larger commercial development appear. A half-completed shopping complex rises beside the road, its concrete frame reaching skyward. Workers balance on scaffolding, carrying tools and shouting instructions to one another. Trucks unload materials, their engines roaring as they deposit sand and cement onto the site. Investors have chosen this location strategically, knowing that the constant stream of commuters ensures foot traffic once the complex opens. The road itself is the promise of success, the guarantee of customers. The motorbike overtakes another truck, this one carrying crates of drinks stacked high. The crates wobble slightly as the vehicle lurches over uneven ground, but the ropes hold firm. The driver leans forward, focused intently on the road ahead. Deliveries such as these are the unseen currents of the city, the goods that stock shops and markets, the supplies that keep households running. Without this corridor, such movement would falter, and the economy it sustains would stumble. Another estate appears, its walls adorned with carefully designed logos. Billboards outside advertise modern living with serene environments, reliable water supply, and easy access to Accra's business districts. The promises are aspirational, appealing to those who dream of comfort and stability. Inside the estate, houses are arranged in neat rows, their rooftops gleaming under the sun. Cars are parked in driveways, and children ride bicycles within the safety of gated walls. From the motorbike, the estate looks like a self-contained world, yet it too relies entirely on the road outside for connection to the larger city. Further ahead, the road narrows into a bottleneck where drivers fight for position. Horns blare in a chaotic chorus as each vehicle edges forward with stubborn determination. Motorbikes like this one seize every opening, weaving through impossibly tight spaces. Passengers inside trotros sigh and complain, resigned to the slow crawl. Traders seize the opportunity, rushing to windows to sell food, water, and small goods. For them, a traffic jam is not an inconvenience but a marketplace. Their voices rise above the noise, persistent and insistent, ensuring that no driver or passenger leaves empty-handed. The motorbike presses forward slowly, the rider's patience steady despite the congestion. Sweat drips from his brow, wiped away with a quick motion before gripping the handlebars again. Around him, life continues its unbroken rhythm. A mechanic works on a car at the roadside, tools clattering against metal. A group of women carry baskets balanced on their heads, moving gracefully despite the weight. A young boy chases after a stray goat, his laughter bright against the backdrop of honks and engines. Each element is part of the tapestry, woven tightly into the story of the corridor. The heat of midday intensifies, the air heavy and dry. Dust hangs thick where vehicles stir it up, coating the leaves of roadside trees and settling on rooftops. Yet, no one stops. The vendors remain at their posts, the commuters remain in their vehicles, and the motorbikes continue their weaving dance. Life along this road is marked by persistence, an unyielding commitment to movement. No matter the obstacles, the journey continues. As the motorbike nears the central spine of Borteyman, the density increases further. More shops appear, more houses crowd the roadside, more people throng the narrow paths. A food vendor stirs a steaming pot of banku while customers wait eagerly with bowls in hand. A barber trims hair under the shade of a makeshift canopy, his clippers buzzing in rhythm with the noise of the road. A young girl sells fried plantains wrapped in brown paper, her small hands moving quickly as she serves customers. All of these lives are anchored by the road, dependent on its constant pulse. The rider slows slightly, taking in the scene with quiet recognition. This is the living essence of the corridor, the reason why roads are more than asphalt and gravel. They are lifelines that sustain economies, nurture communities, and carry ambition forward. The School Junction to Borteyman Road tells this truth every day, written not in words but in dust, sweat, and resilience. It is a narrative that never ends, each morning and evening adding new layers, each commuter another author in the unending story. The motorbike presses deeper into Borteyman, where the road's pulse grows even more intense, as though every lane, every stall, every pedestrian has been drawn into the swelling energy of midday. The crowd is heavier, the sounds sharper, and the air thicker with the mingling sense of cooked food, exhaust, and dust. The corridor has transformed into a river of unbroken motion, each current, whether motorbike, car, trotro, or pedestrian, flowing in its own rhythm, all feeding into the same relentless tide. A woman sells kenki from a wooden table under the shade of a tree, her deft hands unwrapping steaming balls of maize dough from their leaves. Customers queue patiently, their money clutched in hand, as bowls of pepper sauce and fried fish are placed carefully beside the food. Across the road, a man repairs shoes, his hammer striking leather rhythmically, his small stall surrounded by piles of sandals and slippers in varying states of repair. The proximity of these scenes to the traffic is striking. Life here is lived against the constant backdrop of engines and horns. The road does not interrupt life, it hosts it. The motorbike glides past a seamstress hunched over a sewing machine under a tin shelter. Fabric in bright colours, red, yellow, blue, and green, hangs around her stall, billowing gently with every gust of wind from passing vehicles. She pumps the pedal steadily, her needle stitching patterns into fabric destined to become dresses for weddings, funerals, or school events. Just beyond, a barber sharpens his clippers, waiting for customers to fill the 2 plastic chairs outside his stall. Each of these artisans depends entirely on the road's constant rhythm. It is their marketplace, their advertisement, their guarantee of survival. A group of school children cross the road, guided by an older student holding their hands. Cars slow reluctantly, drivers tapping brakes with impatience, but the children cross safely, their chatter carrying above the din. Their uniforms, though dusty from the roadside air, still gleam brightly under the midday sun. They laugh and skip as they make their way to a waiting compound. The corridor holds them within its grasp each day, delivering them to education and carrying them back home again. The road itself becomes a silent participant in their pursuit of knowledge. Further ahead, the motorbike overtakes a line of delivery vans stacked with crates of bottled water. Drivers lean on their horns, urging traffic forward, while assistants jump down to rearrange loads or hand deliveries to shops along the road. Water is life, and here it flows as commerce, each crate ensuring that roadside vendors, households, and shops remain stocked. The vans themselves are part of the corridor's economy, their very existence tied to the ability of this road to move goods steadily across neighbourhoods. The air thickens again with the smell of roasted meat and frying oil. A vendor turns skewers over hot coals, the sizzle of fat meeting fire rising above the hum of engines. Customers sit on wooden benches nearby, eating quickly before resuming their journeys. Others carry food wrapped in paper to eat later, their hunger satisfied even as their commute continues. For the vendors, every car that slows, every motorbike that stops, is potential income. For commuters, the road provides not only transport, but nourishment. The motorbike weaves carefully through another cluster of vehicles locked in congestion. Drivers lean on horns, their frustration echoing across the corridor, but movement resumes slowly, grudgingly, like a reluctant tide. Motorbikes slip through spaces too narrow for cars, their agility unmatched. Passengers in trotros sigh and shift uncomfortably, some resting their heads against windows, others engaging in quiet conversations. Despite the heat and the frustration, no one abandons the road. They endure because there is no other choice, because this corridor is not simply the fastest option, it is the only option for many. On the roadside, an elderly woman sells herbs and roots carefully arranged in small piles. She calls out softly to passers-by, her voice seasoned with years of practice. Each bundle of leaves, each bottle of concoction, carries with it a promise of healing, of relief from ailments for those who cannot afford hospitals or who believe deeply in tradition. She too is part of the corridor's mosaic, her small trade sustained entirely by the flow of life along this road. The motorbike accelerates past, overtaking yet another fuel tanker moving cautiously along the narrow lane. The tanker's size dwarfs the smaller vehicles around it, forcing them to slow. Its presence is a reminder that this road does not only serve local commuters, but also plays a role in moving vital resources. Every drop of fuel it carries is destined to power vehicles, businesses, and households across the city. Without the road, the tanker's journey would be impossible. With the road, it becomes a lifeline not only for Borteyman, but for communities far beyond. Shadows shorten as the sun sits directly overhead. The heat shimmers on the asphalt, blurring the view of the horizon. The rider wipes sweat from his brow, adjusting his grip on the handlebars as the motorbike hums steadily forward. Around him, life shows no sign of slowing. The vendors continue calling, the children continue laughing, the drivers continue honking, and the traders continue bargaining. The road's rhythm does not waver, sustained by the determination of those who depend on it. The motorbike glides past a row of newly built shops with shiny glass fronts, a stark contrast to the older wooden kiosks nearby. Inside, air conditioning hums faintly, and shelves are stocked with groceries, electronics, and clothing. Customers enter and exit, their purchases tucked into branded bags. These modern shops signal the shift in Borteyman's identity, from a peripheral community to an emerging hub. Yet, just outside their doors, hawkers still sell fried snacks and sachet water under the blazing sun. The juxtaposition is striking, but it is also natural. This is how Accra expands, old and new overlapping, both dependent on the same corridor for survival. The motorbike overtakes a cyclist carrying long metal rods tied diagonally across his frame. Each bump causes the rods to wobble dangerously, but he continues pedaling steadily, accustomed to the risk. Behind him, a taxi honks impatiently, unable to pass until the road clears. The cyclist presses forward without complaint, focused entirely on delivering his load. He is another piece of the road's endless story, a figure whose persistence embodies the daily struggle and triumph that define the corridor. The smell of dust thickens again as the motorbike passes another untarred stretch. Vehicles crawl, their tires kicking up clouds that linger in the air. Pedestrians cover their mouths with cloth, blinking rapidly as they hurry along the roadside. Motorbikes, though more agile, still jolt uncomfortably over the rough ground. Each bump is a reminder of unfinished work, of promises yet to be fulfilled. Yet no one turns back. The need to move forward outweighs the discomfort. Finally, the motorbike nears the central cluster of Borteyman, where the density of homes and businesses reaches its peak. The area buzzes with energy. Children running errands, women carrying baskets of produce, men unloading goods from trucks, drivers negotiating with customers. The corridor has delivered them all here, sustaining the very identity of Borteyman. What was once a quiet community has become a vibrant hub, its growth written into the dust and tar of the road. As the motorbike slows, the end of the journey draws near. The rider looks around, absorbing the countless details of the corridor. Each sound, each face, each building carries meaning. The road is not simply a line between 2 points. It is a living, breathing story. It holds within it the laughter of children, the sweat of workers, the dreams of homeowners, the frustrations of drivers, and the determination of traders. It is as complex as the city itself, as resilient as the people who travel it, and as essential as the air they breathe. The motorbike stops briefly near a junction where traffic converges. Around it, the bustle continues unabated. Vendors call out, cars honk, pedestrians weave between vehicles, and cyclists push forward. The journey may have reached its conclusion, but the life of the corridor does not end. Tomorrow, the same rhythm will begin again at dawn, the same tide of movement rising once more. School Junction to Borteyman will remain what it has always been, a lifeline, a promise, and a story without end.
They say I made it. New car, penthouse too. Can't hate it, but something's off tonight. Looking at these walls, all perfect, polished, bright. As I fall, every achievement feels like another chain. Climbing higher, but I'm feeling more trapped each day. Started living for the likes and the fame. Now I can't recognize my own name. This cage is made of gold. Everything that I was told would make me happy, make me whole. This cage is made of gold. Breaking free, breaking free. But these chains look good on me. Breaking free, breaking free. What would they think if they could see? Listen up, let me break it down for you. Let me break it down for you. Every ring got me trapped in a loop. Designer brands in the trending spots. Living life through these photo ops. Validation from strangers' eyes. Building prisons with my own lies. Started small, now I'm living large. But success became my own sabotage. Yeah, I did what they said I should. Check every box in the neighborhood. Now I'm standing at the top alone. In my cage that I comb. Remember when we used to dream so small? Just me and you against it all. Before I traded simple days for this perfect broke my whole. It's me and you against it all. before I traded simple days for this perfect program maze. This cage is made of